Hey everyone, welcome back. Today I am going to show you how to collect disaster-related event data from news article using Python and the News API. Whether you are working on a project or just curious about what's happening in the world, this video will help you gather live news data on natural disaster events. So let's get started. First off, let me explain what we are doing here. We are going to use the News API to fetch live news articles that contain keyword related to various natural disasters like earthquake, floods, wildfire, and more. We will then identify and categorize these events based on the article titles and store them in structured format using pandas. Before we get started, let's quickly go over how to obtain your API key from News API. If you already have an account, simply log in. If not, you can create a new account by providing your name, email, and password. Once you are signed in, you will be able to generate your API key, which we will use in our script. Our project leverages data from past and current news articles collected through News API. News API work by utilizing REST API principle. This means that the API allows developer to access its data and its functionality via a series of standardized request and response. Here is a sample how the data look like when we fetch the data from News API. API returns the data in forms of JSON-like format. In this case, data has been retrieved from top headline in the US under the business category. We have different ways to filter how we want to extract the data from News API, such as keyword or phrases. Let's say the word like Apple and Microsoft, date published, let's say from periods of 1st June 2024 to 31st July 2024, source domain name, country, category, language, and many more. We can also see the documentation of the News API in various languages such as Python, Ruby, Java, PHP, and many more. We also have a variety of pricing from $0 per month, and the plan can go up to $1749 per month. The plan has a limitation such as 24 hours delay on an article, the ability to search an article up to 1 month old, and a cap of 100 requests per count. In comparison, the paid plan offers no delay in news article, ability to search an article up to 5 years old, and the capacity to make up to 2 million requests per day. We can also see the usage history in the account section, which tell us the number of requests we have made per day as displaying on our screen. Alright, let's dive into the code. Here we are importing necessary libraries. Import pandas as pd, pandas for data handling, import datetime for working with dates, import request for making API calls to News API. Next, you will need to get your News API key, which you can grab from newsapi.org. And News API endpoint. Replace the News API key with your actual API key. We define a list of keywords that we will use to search for disaster-related events. This covers a wide range of natural disaster: earthquake, flood, tsunami, hurricane, cyclone, wildfire, tornado, volcano, drought, landslide, storm, blizzard, avalanche, and heat wave. First, we define function, fetch live data, and pass a keyword as the parameter. This function will be one of the disaster-related terms like earthquake or floods. Next, we will calculate the date 2 days ago using Python datetime module. This is important because we only want to retrieve recent articles within the last 2 days. Next, we set up the parameter for our API request. Here what each parameter does. API key. This is your API key that we obtained earlier. Q. This is the keyword we are searching for, such as earthquake or wildfire. From this specify the start date for the search which we have set to 2 days ago. 2. This specify the end date which is the current date. Language. We set this to EN to only fetch article in English. These parameters ensure that we get the article most relevant and recent article. After setting up our parameter, we use the request library to send a GET request to the News API endpoint, passing in the parameter we just defined. This sends our search query to the News API. Finally, we handle the response from the API. We use the JSON method to convert the response into the JSON object and then extract the article from it. If there is no article, the function will return an empty list by default. This ensures that our script can handle situations where no relevant news is found. The function identify disaster event identify the type of disaster event by checking the news article title for keyword from our list. If a keyword matches, it returns the disaster type. So, first thing first, we pass the title of an event in the function. If the title is none, or in other words, there is no title provided, we return unknown. This ensures that the function doesn't break if we don't have a title to work with. Next, the real magic happens with the keyword matching. We loop through a list of disaster keywords which include words like flood, earthquake, wildfire, and so on. If any of those keywords are found in the title, we return the keyword capitalized. Finally, if no keywords are found, the function return unknowns. That's a fallback to make sure we always have an output even when no matching keywords are present. Now, moving to the core of the script where we fetch and filter live data. We start by initializing an empty list, all live data, to old, all filter article. Then for each keyword in our disaster keyword, we call the function fetch live data. This function is defined above the code, grabs the live news article related to that keyword. This session helps us to filter the incoming live data and standardize it into a dictionary format, making it easier to work with. Once all the articles are filtered and processed, we store them into a data frame. A data frame is an efficient data structure provided by the pandas library which allow us to manipulate and analyze the data easily. With this data frame, we can now sort, analyze or visualize the data, making it a powerful tool for any kind of disaster monitoring or real-time analysis.